Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Hey, Tracy, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Greg?
Good. Trying to keep up with letting people in. Thank you for the update, by the way, on the overdose response.
It might have been too much, but I just
I thought it was I feel well informed, put it that way. I like that.
okay.
Nate, you got that same thing, right? How did you feel?
He's still connecting, looks
Still
like.
connecting.
Yeah. He did email me back. He thought it was good because he said he would add it to the notes of the referral.
Okay.
So
I got to figure out. Okay, there we go. Hey, Nate. 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 Nate Thibodeau. Tracy, I get the feeling I'm being ignored.
I think you might be. I don't know. Did you do something to irritate him or what?
I don't know.
So Dave Allaire's on. Hello.
Hello, Mayor. How are you?
We're doing good, Greg. How are you?
Good, good.
Good. Good.
I'm going to have to go find Nate. I'll be back.
And that was just it. Some of these were one-offs that needed to be threes, some of those were, this would be only one. Almost instinctually, get right in the program.
Should we put some more spoons out?
It's part of this.
Okay, well, Nate's audio isn't working. So he's going to come over to my office when he does his presentation. So.
Hey, Greg. Hi, Tracy.
Hey, Elise. Grab your chair, bring it around. Hello, everybody.
Hi, Greg.
Hey, Elise. Hey, Jess. Hey, Ron. Hey,
Hello,
Crispin.
good morning.
Hey, Greg.
Everybody's popping on. I'm trying to keep up.
That's Dave down in Florida.
Oh, Dave, you can hide your video, Dave. We don't want to see that sunshine. Hey, Emily. Hey, Walt.
How you
Been a
doing?
while, Walt. How are you?
Well, trying to stay out of trouble, trying to stay warm.
Ah, good for you. You know if Kareem's going to be here today?
I do not know. I don't think so, but with this schedule, I don't know. He might be.
Okay. Hey, Miss Berkey. How are you, Jen?
Good, nice to see you. Hi, everybody.
You.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Oh, trying to keep up. Hey, Ron, you're on the agenda.
Oops, he went away.
Yeah, he ran away. Oops, scared him off.
Hey, Greg.
Nate, you're back.
Ah, I got it. Okay. There we go.
You need your thumb drive back?
No, I'm good.
Okay, you got it over there?
Yep.
You got Emilio standing behind you.
Uh,
Hey, Pat. Hey, Aaron. Trying to catch everybody. So many people coming in.
I'm back. I hit the wrong button.
Yeah, we didn't take it personal. We'll give it a few more minutes, everybody, and then we'll jump in and get started. I got 3 after 12. We'll give it till 5 after to make sure we get everybody in that wants to come in and join, and then we'll start. Hey, Patty.
You might notice I'm in my car.
Where are you going, Patty?
I just got done with a tennis lesson with Rob, Elise.
Ah, how was it?
Good. Good.
Oh, that's good.
So I knew if I really rushed in here.
Yeah. So I'm not going to be there tonight. I couldn't find a sub, so I don't know what's going to happen. It looks like it might be 3 of you.
Okay, not to worry.
I like putting our business out for everybody on Project Vision, huh?
Exactly. You're just afraid of me, Elise, because I had a lesson with Rob.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I think we're gonna go ahead and get started. We have quite a few people on. And as people join, we'll admit them. Nate, if you want to help me keep up with that, at least until your presentation. The chairman, Mark Stockton, cannot be here today. He's got his mother's not doing well, and he had to drive to Pittsfield, Mass today to be with her. So he will not be on the meeting today, but we wish him the best and safe travels. Any new members, any new Project Vision members that want to speak up and introduce themselves?
Hello. Speaking of new members,
Hey, Emily.
hi, my name is Emily Okraska, as you can see, and I'm a new field services navigator at Brock.
Well, nice to meet you. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Anybody else?
Hi, I'm Brianna. I'm also a field service navigator with Emily at Brock.
Welcome. You know, it's too bad that, Amanda or Allison couldn't have introduced you. Oh, yeah, I'm calling you out, Amanda. There you go. Well, welcome. Anybody else? Any other new members?
Yeah, my name's Richard Turner. I live in Rutland here, down on the Robin Street, Baxter area. So I'm kind of curious, I kind of kept my eyes out when they had the big busts down here and everything, knew what was going on, and just kind of want to, listen in and see what this is about.
Okay. Are you there with Mariah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi.
All right. I saw someone talking and I saw your name. I wasn't sure. Welcome.
Thank you.
Any other new members today? Well, hearing none, we'll move right along. Mayor David Allaire.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Greg. And good afternoon, everyone. Great to be with you all once again. Hopefully at some point before too much longer, we can be together in one place and not remote, but this is where we're at. So over here at City Hall, we have been extremely busy since the beginning of the new year. Of course, like everyone else, we are dealing with COVID, with several positive cases in just the last couple of weeks. But fortunately, we have, with those cases, folks have been recovering quickly, and it has been, up to this point, very manageable. Maybe this is a good point, good place where I know this group is doing all the things that need to be done, but I guess it can't be said enough times for those who are not vaccinated to please get vaccinated, or if you know of any folks in your sphere, to remind them, as nicely as you can, to please get vaccinated and wear your mask when you're out in public, and do all the things that we need to do to get through this as quickly as we possibly can, because the numbers are skyrocketing. I just got a note from my wife that Pittsford is going remote tomorrow. I know Rutland Town is remote today and tomorrow. Fairhaven Union High School is closed down, I think, for the week, and this pandemic is going full tilt. So we need to do all we can to keep each other safe. So I appreciate everything that everyone's been doing. So on another issue, quite positive, we have been meeting. We had a meeting just last night at the city finance committee level to talk about ARPA funding. In our case, in the city, we have $4.4 million, which is being sent to us in 2 tranches, 2.2 this year, 2.2 next year. Decisions are going to be made within the next couple of weeks on that first, how to spend that first $2.2 million. The suggestions and debate crosses a wide spectrum, and luckily we have been able to see a final set of rules and guidance from the federal government about what does or does not qualify for that funding. The next 2 meetings to discuss this have been scheduled. They're going to be held the next 2 Wednesday nights, which are the 19th and 26th of January. Both of those meetings are at 5:30, and the public is encouraged to come if you are interested and want to have a say in where that money is going to be spent. So again, next Wednesday night and the following Wednesday night, January 19th and 26th at 5:30 at City Hall. And if you have an interest, please come and have your say. And almost finally, we have had a number of vacancies on city boards recently. Most, in particular, the Rutland Redevelopment Authority Board. We are trying to fill those volunteer positions as quickly as we can. We have had some interest in just the last few days, so I'm pleased about that. But if anyone out there knows of someone who might be willing to serve on that board, or have any interest in serving in any boards, please send their name or send them my way. Be glad to chat with them. I think there's going to continue to be some turnover. We're coming up on election season. Traditionally, there's some turnover during the late winter and early spring, and love to see some new blood on some of these boards if people have an interest. And now, definitely, finally, I wanted to just spend 2 seconds sending my congratulations and best wishes to Commander Dave Lachance, who is retiring this coming week. He has been an outstanding member of the Rutland Police Department for a very long time. The whole time that I've been involved, which goes back to '98. So, and he's been around. He was there when I got on board. He has risen through the ranks, and City of Rutland owes Dave a debt of gratitude for his service. I want to wish him well on his retirement, which is coming up, I believe, next week. And we want to thank Dave for his years of service. It has not gone unnoticed, and we appreciate it very much at City Hall. So that's my report. Thank you very much.
There was a note in the chat. Someone wanted to know if the ARPA meeting was going to be, if there's going to be a virtual option. Are you still there, Mayor?
I am still here. Right now, we do not have virtual options. The meetings are being held in person. However, if someone would like to participate by sending in a note, or if you would like me to see if there's a way to have you phoned in and participate that way, so that would be, through the phone, but not Zoom, but through the phone, then I certainly will attempt to make those arrangements for you.
Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome.
Any more questions for the mayor before we move on? Okay, Chief Cucullin.
Thanks, Greg. Happy New Year, everyone. As you heard from the mayor, if you didn't already know, that Commander Dave Lachance is retiring effective January 23rd. So, as most of you probably know, we've been challenged in terms of our staffing. It's been incredibly difficult to find candidates who can get through our rigorous hiring process and who have an interest in working in law enforcement. So we've got quite a number of openings. So with Dave's departure, we presented with some challenges, and every promotion that we have at the department sort of pulls from those who are actually out there doing the day-to-day work out in the street. And so that's difficult to get the job done when we've got fewer people doing it. So we chose not to promote at this point, but that means that someone else has additional responsibility, and that individual right now is Greg Sheldon. So Greg will retain his overall responsibility for Project Vision, for our community response team, will remain as the executive director of Project Vision, but will also assume responsibility over the patrol division. Now, for that to work, we've got to send some more resources his way. Not prepared to talk too much about that quite yet, what we've got planned, but we will be sending Greg some additional resources to help him, as efficiently as possible manage both divisions. Commander Delpha, formerly assigned to the patrol division, will assume Dave Lachance's former position as our BCI commander and commander of professional standards. So that's going forward. We do have 2 candidates that so far look pretty promising for the next academy class, which will be in March. So COVID sort of threw a monkey wrench in the scheduling, the typical scheduling for the academy. Typically, classes are in every February and August. Last year, there was only one graduating academy class. The second one started in October and actually finished up this year. But the next class will be finishing up this year, and the next class will start soon after that class ends in March. So again, looks promising. We're hoping to have those 2 candidates, but even with those 2 candidates, that we're talking about 9 months to a year before those individuals would be sort of full service officers. So it's quite a challenge for us, which, I think I mentioned last month what we're looking to do in terms of providing resources to respond to many of the calls that we're called on. Much of what we respond to is not criminal in nature, and we don't necessarily need a sworn officer to respond. So we're in the process, as I mentioned last month, and the community policing subcommittee is certainly familiar with what we're doing, is to develop kind of a non-sworn civilian type position to respond to many of those sorts of calls that don't really require police response. Certainly the lead time will be much shorter than it will with a police officer. It will not take a year for that individual to be up and running, and again, and that will allow us to more efficiently respond to calls for service in a timely manner. So that's in the works. This time of year, I think every year we provide our crime stats from the previous year. This past Monday, Nate presented that to the police commission. And in years past, we looked at our numbers, and we recognized that a lot of our cash ready crimes were down. And going back a handful of years, we sort of made that correlation between treatment capacity in the city and numbers being down. Well, our numbers are now up. Our cash ready crimes are up. A lot of our larcenies, our burglaries, some of our robberies, typically are taking place for those committing those crimes to obtain either goods or money to support typically an addiction. So we're looking to, you'll see those numbers when Nate does his presentation, and we've asked a couple of our partners to sort of talk about potentially the correlation between those increased numbers and sort of where we're at in terms of other services in the community currently. To some extent, there's no one here from the courts to talk, but I'm not sure if there's any correlation between the somewhat limited services being provided by the court that have been provided by the court over the last almost 2 years now. That's a possibility, but again, we've got a couple of other partners who can talk potentially about what the correlation might be. So looking forward to that. And that's it for me right now. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Chief. Real quick, Rich Gallo, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, just real quick. Thanks, Greg, and the Project Vision community. Recently, we reached out to the Project Listserv, and we had an enormous response to help out one of our veterans. I'm not going to call the individuals out by name, but they do participate in Project Vision. And I just wanted to give them a very much gratitude and much thank you for the response and to getting back to us. The veteran is going to pick up quite a bit of stuff this afternoon. So with that, thank you to the Project Vision community and our community partners as well. Thanks, Greg.
I'll echo that, Rich. Thank you very much for everybody in the community out there that steps up every time we send something out. But it really is appreciated, and it's an amazing see a need, meet a need listserv. So thanks again, Rich. The only remarks I have real quick is the steering committee who helped set the agenda for each meeting. We have the agenda items, if everything goes well, set for February already, but if we don't have any announcements, we only have a couple presentations. So if you have an announcement you want to make in February, let us know, and we're setting up for March. So if you would like to do a presentation for the group, please let me know between now and end of March or end of February, and we'll get you on the March's schedule. That's the only real big announcement I have. And Nate, are you ready to go for the year-end results?
Yeah, we can get started on this. Let me just do a screen share real quick.
Please ask questions as we go. There's a lot of partners in the room that might be able to help answer some of the questions, and the chief and I are here to help answer questions as we go. So please ask questions if you have some.
Can you see that?
You can see your screen, yes, but not your document. There you go.
You got it? Okay. All right, let's get this started. So the total calls for service, police officers responded to 11,470. The 5-year average is 11,220. Out of those police officer cases, 10,419. They completed 635 directed patrols. 5-year average for directed patrols is 888. Vision took 98, and the animal control did 318. And down here, that just explains like how many calls for service that we beat in the previous years. So last time we didn't beat it was 2017. Top 30 observed codes for 2021.
Nate, can you explain observed codes?
So the observed code is what the officers have seen. They responded to a nature call, which was what was called in, and this is what they're reporting out was the observed code. So, and I won't go through all of them, but I will explain the 3 that we had a increase on, which was vandalism, or the biggest increase, which was vandalism. Went from 135 to 180. Motor vehicle larceny went from 65 on average to 136. And the burglary with force was 45 to 82. And the most significant decrease we had was intoxicated persons. The average was 241, and it decreased to 115.
And just so everybody knows, Nate, motor vehicle larceny is not vehicles being stolen, it's items being stolen from a vehicle.
Yes. So again, 2021 crimes, observed codes, 2016 to 2020 compare. So the 5-year comparison of robbery, the 5-year average is 6. In 2021, we had 18. This resembles a 125% increase from the previous year, from 2020. Aggravated assaults, the 5-year average is 52. We were below the average at 43. 19% increase from the year before. Burglary with force, 49 is the 5-year average. We saw 82, 165% increase from 2020. Burglary non-force, 5-year average is 23. Below the average at 11, 10% increase from the previous year. Larceny shoplifting, 5-year average is 109. We're above the average at 125 and 85% change from the previous year. Larceny for motor vehicle, 5-year average is 65. We're at 136 and an 89% increase from the previous year. Forcible rape, 5-year average is 6. We're below the average at 3 and a 25% reduction year before. Theft of automobile, 5-year average is 15. We had 41 last year. for it. And we had a 242% increase from 2020. I will say the theft automobile, this can be people arguing with a significant other, and they said they didn't bring the car back. I haven't gone through and created that list at the moment. Top 10 locations for 2021. So starting at number 10, 203 North Main Street. Total calls 65. Average calls per month was 6. We had 5 overdoses. 1 was fatal there. And it was a mix of issues at that location. So number 9, 115 Woodstock Ave, the roadway in. Total calls 66. Average calls 6. Total overdoses 3. Again, mix of issues. Number 8 was 22 Stratton Ave, Rutland High School. This is our school resource officer takes care of. At 72 calls, average calls per month was 7. They're good. It's juvenile issues.
Hey,
Number
Nate,
7.
Nate, with
Yes,
the
sir.
high school, are any of those 72 calls false alarms?
I'd have to go back and check.
Okay, but they could be.
They could be.
Okay, so, okay, thank you.
Yep. So number 7, 212 South Main Street, the Cumberland Farms. Total calls 78. Average calls per month was 7. Mix of issues. Number 6, 138 North Main Street, the roadway in. 94 total calls. Average calls per month was 8. Again, mix of issues. Number 5 was the House Center. Total calls 95. Average calls per month was 8. We had 1 stolen catalytic converter there. Number 4, 125 Woodstock Ave, the travel in. Total calls was 96. Average calls per month was 8. Total overdoses, we had 4, 1 fatal. Mix of issues. Number 3, the 238 South Main Street, the Econo Lodge. We had 105 calls at that location, and the average calls per month was 9. And for number 2, we had a total calls of 204. Could be a little more than that. Average calls per month was 17, and he had a total of 7 overdoses. And that was all before, what was it, May we closed it down? Or it was closed down?
Yes. April, May, around that time frame.
And the number 1 location was the shopping plaza, Walmart Price Chopper. Most calls was the Walmart with 298. In total calls of 523, and the average calls per month is 45. And
Hey,
second,
Nate, real quick, the shopping plaza, that's mostly retail thefts, or were there other calls intermingled?
it would be retail thefts, lockouts, some citizen assists, but yeah, mainly it's retail thefts.
Okay, thank you.
Sector information. All right, Sector 1, Sergeant Dickerson's area. On the right side, you can see that these would be the, on the left side, it's crime, and right side, it's the, help me out, Greg. What do I call them?
Quality of life issues?
Quality of life issues, yes.
So the right-hand side is non-criminal cases, and the left-hand
Yes.
criminal cases?
Yep.
Okay.
All right, and the busiest time, or the busiest day there in Sector 1 was on a Friday. The second busiest day was a Wednesday. The busiest 4-hour period is 16 to 1900, and the second busiest 4-hour period is 12 to 15.
Hey, Nate,
Yes, sir.
I know you're military and I'm law enforcement, but can you use standard time?
12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and 4 to 7 o'clock. The top 10 observed codes that we saw in Sector 1 was citizen assist, suspicious, blanks, they were left to blank right now, agency assist, welfare, citizen disputes, juvenile problems, noise disturbance, and animal problems. All right, Sector 2 is Sergeant Anderson's area. Again, quality of life is on the right, and then criminal calls were on the left in traffic. Busiest day was a Wednesday. Second busiest day was a Thursday. Busiest time between 12 and 4, and 5 and 8. Top 10 observed codes is citizen. It's not much different. The only difference was you had more false alarms in that area, and that's because there's a few businesses that have multiple false alarms going off there. Juvenile problems.
And Nate, if I could jump in real quick, just
Yes.
to help those listening, observed codes is basically what the officer responded to, what they observed when they were there, and what they concluded the situation was. When Nate said citizen assist, these are the calls they're responding to. Observed codes is something we use internally, but basically it's a call that they've responded to and what that kind of call was. Citizen assist, juvenile problem, welfare checks, things like that, if that helps everybody.
Greg, can Nate tell, because a lot of people might not be familiar with what the different sectors are. If you could just clarify a little bit about what the different sectors are. Sector 1 was?
I would have to have a map to show that, but Sector 1 is mostly downtown and the parts of the Northwest. Nate, do you want to explain those? Do you have a map of them all?
Like you said, Sector 1 is mainly the center of the city, a little bit of Northwest, and that includes the shopping plaza. Sector 2, if you can see, is the southwest part of the area. And then the Sector 3 is the east side, north and south part of it.
And Route 7 is a big divider down the middle of the two sectors there.
Yeah. And you got Woodstock Ave is your biggest area there. All right, the busiest day in Sector 3 was Friday. The second busiest day was a Wednesday. Busiest 4-hour period was 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock, and then 4 o'clock, 7 o'clock. The observed codes, again, not much different. You did have a lot of welfare checks in Sector 3, non-reportable traffic crashes, false alarms. Busiest streets, Woodstock Ave, South Main, North Main, Stratton, Allen, Killington, Curtis Ave, East Washington Street, East Street, and Jackson Ave. And this includes everything that an officer responded to, non-criminal and criminal calls. Sector 4 is Sergeant Mosier. It's not a very busy area. And this is the north west area. In Sector 4, the busiest day was a Wednesday. Second busiest day was a Friday. The busiest between 9 and 12, and then 1 and 4. The top 10 observed codes there, much different. And the busiest street there was pretty much North Main.
And when you say North Main, you mean mostly businesses, not like traffic accidents and stuff?
Yeah, I would go more toward traffic crashes and stuff like that.
Okay.
The biggest part of that would actually be the Highlander.
Okay.
That would be taking up most of the cases on North Main Street. So you had 68, I think.
Okay, thank you.
Some additional information that I collect. This is the overdoses. Last year in 2021, we had 80 overdoses, which surpasses the last 4 years. For non-fatal to fatal, we had 63 non-fatal overdoses and 17 fatal overdoses. The age range for this is mainly between 30 and 39, followed by 40 and 49. And the primary drug in the fatal overdoses is fentanyl. The other issue that's becoming a concern is with catalytic converter thefts. We had 46 total last year, and most of those occurred in December. And the reason why they take people are going after the catalytic converter on it, is there's rare precious metals in there. They'll go and cut that off, and then they'll go maybe to New York or somewhere around here, and they'll try to sell it. For that. And that's all I got. Any questions for anyone?
Thank you, Nick. Does anybody want to see a certain slide again or have any questions about his report out?
I have a clarification on Sector 4. The difference between Sector 4 and Sector 1.
Yep. So Sector 4 is the green area here, and Sector 1 is the gray. Again, it's Sector 4 is mainly the outridges, and Sector 1 is like center, more condensed. Are you able to see my screen right now?
Yes.
So this is the Sector 1, and then Sector 4 is the screen.
Thank you.
Hey, Greg, this is Richard.
Hey, Rich.
Hey, Nate, awesome report. Always great to see you guys. A lot of people don't understand, but please keep these police officers and their families in your thoughts and prayers every day. The things that they have to report out to and respond to, you know, with the current shortages and stuff, these guys are pulling extended hours. They're doing a great job, and they're really responding to the city's needs. But just keep, just the other day it was law enforcement, National Law Enforcement Day. And I think we need to really remember what we're asking of our local police officers and departments, sheriff's departments, for the great job that they are doing in responding to our city and our town areas. So I just wanted to make mention of that.
Thank you, Rich. Appreciate that. I see Patty has her hand raised.
Yeah, I was just curious. There were a lot of Wednesday and Friday incidents. And I was wondering, do those fall on a certain date toward the end of the month, toward the beginning of the month? Whether there was any rhyme or reason to it.
It tends to shift.
The dates of crime.
Yeah, it does tend to shift. So I believe when I compared it to 2020, it used to be over the weekend, and I can't. I'd have to go back and check, but this was taken in consideration the whole year.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So that's why those numbers are so high, because it is the whole year, and that just happens to be when most of the crime for this took place.
Uh-huh.
Or it's not even just crime. This is crime and non-criminal calls together, just
Okay.
when officers were going toward this area.
Thank you. Good job.
Thank you, Patty. Anybody else have questions, comments?
I have a question. I have my hand raised, but I don't think you can see me. Nate, does anybody, you or Greg or the chief, have a sense of how many of, like what percentage of these calls might be addressed by the civilian non-police officer that you're proposing? Is there any information on that?
So what did I say? It was about, I would say they'd be able to respond to maybe 40 some odd percent. Again, when these calls come in, that's when it is be determined.
I think it's important to recognize that the percentage of calls they can respond to versus the number of calls they can actually physically get to will be different. Roughly 85% of our call volume is non-criminal, but how many can they get to? That's a lot for one person. We're running 10 or 11,000 calls a year. That's a lot. So as far as the breakdown on what type of calls they'll go to, we'll have to sit down when things get finalized with the chief and determine what that's going to look like. But yeah, I think Nate's right. Some of our non-criminal calls can still be something we want an officer to go to. So, if we can get 40 to 50%, that would be amazing.
Nate, when you did the analysis, I thought the number was a couple thousand. So, and I mentioned 40. My recollection was maybe it was closer to 20. But either way, we'll continue to dig deeper into it. But, again, we're starting out with one position and we'll see where that goes. And the hope is that if it's successful and there is a need to expand that, and that's our hope going forward. So early on in the budget process, that was the conversation with the mayor. He did commit to us to funding one position. We'll see, and then if it shows some success, then we will certainly look to expand that.
Thanks, Chief. Any other questions, comments, concerns?
Can I keep going?
Sure, Elise.
This is Elise. Nate, I'm sorry, I noticed, and again, this may not be for Nate, this may be for just anybody. I noticed that there's a lot going on with those hotels, with Highlander and Roadway and Travel Inn and Econo Lodge and Quality Inn. Was most of that due to the fact that we were putting people in there on vouchers? And can anybody address is something being done with those owners of those particular facilities to make sure that we can tighten up on this?
I'll let Greg talk about what's being done, but I would say yes, you could contribute some of this to people going there at the vouchers. As you can see, you had 200 plus calls going to the Quality Inn before it was shut down. And then as soon as that happened, we moved people from the Quality to the Holiday Inn, and same thing had happened there as well, that their numbers had started to increase.
Yeah, I don't know that we necessarily have, we don't get a list of names of individuals who are on any particular program when we respond, but we certainly do know that those locations certainly have a concentration of individuals who are on some sort of program through the state. In terms of, what we're trying to, we certainly, we don't want the conditions of the building to contribute to any of the issues that exist. So we've been working with our code enforcement officers, building inspector to sort of focus on those locations. As I said, we don't want the conditions of the building to contribute to some of the issues that we're responding to. So we've been working with them. And as you know, the Quality Inn entirely was shut down by the city just not quite a year ago. The certain rooms have been essentially shut down by our building inspector, depending on what's occurring. So we are in regular contact with the state, and we certainly don't want it to get to the point where we ended up last year at the Quality Inn. So we'll continue to meet with them on a regular basis.
If you don't mind, so Emily and I, we're from Brockton. We're a new position. We're the field service navigators, and one of our main function is going to the hotels and motels. And we were actually there today talking with the life intervention team. So they're going to be doing a lot of work on maintaining and controlling what's going on, because obviously there is a rise in issues going on in the hotels. So we're going to be focusing on providing them with services to kind of break down those barriers to then get them into some permanent housing if possible. So if you guys have any questions about what's going on with that and any issues and whatnot, we definitely will have a lot more information in the coming weeks, because we did just start this position. And maybe if we do come to the meeting next month, we can have a little presentation to show you guys what we're up to, because we're going to be doing a lot within the area with a bunch of different organizations and figuring out what people need. So if you have any questions, just let us know.
That's good to hear. And, when we met with the state last year, one of the things that we were asking for was for the state really to staff a resource desk. The state's made decisions that, turns out have had an adverse impact on the community. And, they haven't provided the necessary resources to connect those recipients to the appropriate resources in the community. So I'm glad to hear that. I think, and I know other things are in the works too for the Quality Inn. So I'm glad to hear it. And so I look forward to hearing from the next.
Excuse me, Chief.
Yes, Walt.
I work for Vermont Psychiatric Survivors. I've been working one-on-one with a lot of people in those hotels over the summer and up through till now. And so again, if there's anything I can help with Brock or help you guys with, give me a holler.
Yeah, we're working with Kareem as well, so we'll be seeing you over there.
Thank you all. Any other questions for Nate or the chief or myself or any other partners in the room about the presentation? I'm not seeing or hearing any. Again, don't hesitate to reach out to the chief or myself or the data crime analyst, Nate. And if you have questions after this is over, feel free to reach out, like I said, and contact us, and we'll try to answer the questions the best we can. Announcements. Ron Pulser. Ron.
Yes, good morning and or good afternoon, and thank you, Greg and Mark, for letting me speak. I'm a member of Grace Congregational Church, and I'm also a guitar player. I'm actually not on the Mission and Service Committee, but I did invite Kathy Willis, who's here for the minister, to attend today. She wasn't able to, but she provided me some information, which I posted on the church's website and also on my CD album website. So I'll put that in the chat. There's on January 30th at 2:00 at Grace Church, there's gonna be a CD release concert. So I recorded some music during the pandemic at Grace Church, made a CD, and so we're doing a CD release concert, and it'll be a fundraiser for Grace Congregational Church's Mission and Service Program, 2:00 on January 30th. The name of the CD is Uplifting Guitar Hymns. There'll be myself and then 3 guest musicians from the local community. Marina Smaktina, she plays cello and guitar. Linda McFarland plays dulcimer and guitar, and Phil Henry plays guitar, and he'll also be playing djembe, which is a percussion instrument. And I'll put a link in the chat for that. And then the fundraiser for Mission and Service, it'll be a free will offering at the concert, and it'll be given to Mission Service Committee, which in turn supports local nonprofits, many of which are Project Vision partners, which I'll mention in a second here. And I'll be selling the CD after the concert, and a portion of I'll be sharing 50% of the proceeds from that to Mission and Service as well. And so I have some information to pass along from Kathy Willis, the chair, and I'll summarize this and I'll put the link in there. There's more, but you can read it later. It's Mission and Service Committee of Grace Congregational Church is entrusted by the congregation to disperse funds to those in need globally, nationally, and locally. So I'll concentrate more on the local. So in 2021, Grace's Mission and Service contributed funds to the efforts of several Rutland area programs, and I'll read them here, or I'll just list them, and you can read some more detail. Many of you on Project Vision probably are already familiar with this, but 2 of the ones I'm going to read are new organizations in Rutland. One is Bridge to Rutland, and I see that Ellen Green is on the call. So that one's new. I'll just mention that they support asylum seekers and provide lodging, skills training, and legal counsel until the folks are able to apply for work visas and become self-sufficient and contributing members of the community. There's also Rutland Open Door Mission, the Community Cupboard, and I see that Rebecca is on the call or was on the call. There's New Story Center, the Dismas House, and there's now the 2 Dismas houses, men's and women's. Another new organization is Rutland Promise, and I mentioned Rebecca on the call. The Rutland Free Clinic, and then there's the Comfort Zone of the Rutland United Methodist Church, and they're partnering with other churches, including Grace Church, and they provide breakfast, lunches, clothing, and other items to people in the community. There's Brock. I know there's people on Brock on this call as well. And just a little note from Kathy as well, that the needs of Rutland County has always been significant, and the pandemic has exacerbated those needs potentially. And I just want to say, just me talking here, is in addition to the challenges that Project Vision has been dealing with over these years, and which the pandemic has made difficult. Grace Church is also our membership, we're all aging, so it's been going down. So that's putting a little bit of a challenge for the mission and service. So part of this concert is to try to raise a little bit more funds so that they can turn around and help these organizations. And I did, I'll add, if you want to have any questions, I can try to answer those. I did anticipate maybe one question, because I know there's a lot of other organizations and people doing work. So I asked, like if another organization wanted to, partner with Grace Church in some way, or, seek some support, how would they do that? And Kathy told me that you can call Grace Church's office, and then they would direct the request or the, idea to either mission and service or the proper committee or folks there. So I believe it's 775-4301, but you may have to double check that. I'm going on my memory. So that's what I have. And if there's any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer them. And I'll post something in the chat. And I'll also send Greg some information for the listserv as well. So thank you.
Right now. Thanks, Ron. To get back to the presentation we just had from Nate, Tracy from Turning Point or Jess from Evergreen, can you kind of weigh in on what our community is doing for recovery and treatment and outreach, to these individuals? And have you seen a decrease in it, a decrease in resources or a decrease in referrals? What can you add to the conversation about that to help our audience?
I can add that we've gotten busier. And a lot of the problems is getting people into treatment, getting them housing. I mean, with COVID, a lot of times Valley Vista, you can't get them in right away. They have an outbreak, they're shut down. Serenity House, alcohol detox, last I knew, they can't do that because they don't have the medical staff. So there's a lack of resources getting people into a place to start their recovery. And the hotels, it's always tough because, there was a period last week where we couldn't get anybody a hotel room, that was homeless. And, we have the recovery coaches in the ER. We work with the Vermont State Police. We'll be working with Rutland City Police. I'm going to meet with Kareem tomorrow from Life Intervention Team and talk to them about how we can support more at the hotels. Because since the GA housing is not going, we're not getting referrals anymore, we don't know where the people are. That's the tough part. But the hardest thing is just getting people somewhere when they're ready in that moment. And that's getting harder and harder as time goes by.
Okay. Thank you, Tracy. Real quick before I go to Nancy, Jess, you have anything to add? I know we chatted on an email about this and you were trying to brainstorm some ideas and we haven't gotten together to do that yet, but what can you add to the conversation?
No, I would absolutely agree with everything that Tracy just said. I think navigating the treatment sector system has definitely gotten challenging with a lot of the changes that have happened. Certainly we've maybe seen just the opposite, a little bit of a decrease, but Evergreen certainly here and able to help kind of support people in the interim. If they do need to go to residential, we'll do what we can to help provide that treatment support in the interim. But yeah, I agree. The housing piece, huge barrier. Can't really expect somebody to get well when they don't know where they're going to lay their head from night to night.
And I wanted to mention that there is an added resource. I've been talking with Dave Regal and Andrew Gagne from V4 Housing, Vermont Foundation of Recovery. They just opened a new house here in Rutland and they took their first client in on Monday and they brought their they're getting another client in today. And what Andrew did was he brought the guy that came in Monday right down to our center today so we could get him set up with a recovery coach and talk about volunteer opportunities and how we're going to do that. And they're at 60 North Main is where their place is. I'm not sure offhand how many beds they are, but I hear it's beautiful. And, so trying to wrap around that. All applications for that get done online. And they you know, they have a pretty good model. I mean, they've got some things they still need to work out, but you know, if somebody relapses in the home, they take them off site. And they're working out those details so that they can talk to them when they are more clear-headed and decide whether it's a good fit to go back into the house. Do they need to go to treatment? So that's what we're going to try to help them with.
Very nice. Thank you. Thank you very much, Tracy.
Yeah.
Nancy.
Yes, Ron's announcement triggered me to share that Trinity Episcopal Church, which is at 85 West Street, is resuming a feeding ministry. We can't do the community luncheons indoors, of course, but this Saturday on that bitter cold day, there will be a tent, and between 11:30 and 12:30, we'll be giving away sandwiches and soup and spread the word to folks who might need those meals. You know, we don't put any restrictions on them, and they are free of charge, and we appreciate you helping to spread the word. And also, I want to apologize to you, Greg, because I sent a message that was meant only for you, and I hit reply all, and it's a lesson in not looking at your work mail on your phone on Sunday night. But nevertheless, I didn't mean it to come across as snarky or anything. It was just checking in with you. And so some of you, I recalled the message immediately, but if you weren't on Exchange, it might have been like, why is she doing that? And I apologize because I made something public that wasn't necessary. And I have a world of respect for you. So I wanted to apologize publicly.
I appreciate that, Nancy. Thank you. But trust me, after 21 years in this job, your email was pleasant.
Well, that's it. And that was the intention, but I figure you have a tougher skin than I do, but nevertheless, you still have feelings.
Thanks, Nancy. Rebecca, you have your hand up. Rebecca?
Yep, I'm here. Thanks, Greg. So I just wanted to thank Ron for making that announcement today on behalf of Grace Church. And I wanted to thank Grace Church on behalf of Rutland's Promise. Oh.
Looks like we lost Rebecca. So our last item up until she gets back is the Elise Headlam has put together a PowerPoint.
Wait a minute, Greg. The chief was going to talk about the cash crimes, the cash ready crimes. And he didn't actually get a chance to talk about that. Is he still on? You were going to talk about the fact that those have increased, and my question is, what's being done? Are we working with business owners? I know that Walmart's troublesome because they don't necessarily follow through on this. Do you have an update on that?
So yeah, I mentioned that the increase in the cash ready crimes early in the meeting, and then Nate sort of highlighted that in some of our numbers. And then I mentioned that several years ago, with a decrease in our cash ready crimes, it sort of made the correlation between treatment capacity and our numbers being down. And so now that they're up, and that's why we asked Tracy and Jess to sort of weigh in to get their take. Why are our numbers up? And so are we missing people? Are we not connecting individuals with the appropriate resources? And if not, why? And they talked about some of the reasons, I think. And the other, I mentioned early on too, with the courts, I don't know how many, if individuals aren't coming through, if the cases aren't being adjudicated in a real timely fashion, are we missing the opportunity to then refer them, or at least connect them to the appropriate resources through the courts? And so that's what we're trying to figure out. I think you heard some of the response from Jess and Tracy. But to your point, when these sorts of things are occurring, so we had a series of commercial burglaries a couple of months back. There was a time where we were getting a number of robberies, and so when that happens, when convenience stores are being targeted for either robberies or burglaries, we do share information with businesses in the city that we think might be targeted, not specifically, but because of the nature of business they're in, typically the convenience store. So, and I got to tell you, when 2 weeks ago, when we had 3 robberies in one day, and then a 4th robbery with we believe to be the same suspect, to there was communication between us and other law enforcement agencies that I think was directly instrumental in at least identifying a suspect in that case and developing probable cause for an arrest. So, there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes. But as I said, my big concern is, are we missing the opportunity to identify individuals that could really benefit from services in the community, and what are the reasons for that? As I said, I think we heard from Tracy and Jess to sort of address that.
Does anybody have any questions about the cash ready crimes and what we're kind of looking at and trying to figure out, or have any other suggestions or input on that before we move on? I know Rebecca's back. So Rebecca, if you want to finish your comment now.
Thank you for that. I don't know what happens with these things in technology. Okay, so I was thanking Ron and Grace Church on behalf of the Rutland Community Cupboard and Rutland's Promise for all the support that they have provided for us over the years, and even most recently during this pandemic that we're languishing in now. But I just wanted everyone to know, and all the service providers, that the community cupboard is still open. We are open 5 days a week. People are shopping inside under COVID safety protocol so that they can make their own choices of what they need. We have meat, bread, organic vegetables, and everything else that you can think about, milk cards, everything. So if you have anyone in food need, please send them to us. If they can't get to us, they can send someone on their behalf. Or they can call us if there's a COVID exposure. We've been doing this a lot lately. We prepare bags and they drive up, we bring them to the parking lot, and then safely they exit their car, get them and bring them back. So we are making sure that everyone has the food they need or has access to it. Also, just some good news for Rutland's Promise, everyone. We took in our first family 30 days ago. And as of yesterday, they are rehoused. And as we are speaking, they are moving into their apartment. So we are very excited, and we are getting ready to open up for another family. So if anyone has a family who is currently residing and has been residing in Rutland County for at least the last 3 months and are catastrophically homeless, please reach out. And I will post our email in the chat so you'll have it. So that's it. Thanks.
Thanks, Rebecca. The chief and I need to step away. We have another engagement to go to at 1, but Tracy from the steering committee, Tracy Moore, is going to jump on and finish the meeting for us and run it. And Nate Thibodeau, the data crime analyst, is going to share your slides, Elise, and bring up the PowerPoint so you can go through the slides with everybody and present your ending, uplifting and positive story. Again, we apologize that we have to run, but feel free to reach out to us if anybody has any questions about what we talked about today with the year-end numbers. Chief, anything else to add?
No, that's it. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it. Happy New Year.
We'll be right here with the PowerPoint share screen in a second. Thank you.
Well, let me just say something while they're getting the PowerPoint up. Greg and I both worked on it, and it was really Greg's creativity that put the finishing touches on it. So I would say, yeah, just go through the slides. Most of them don't need any explanation, but we just wanted to celebrate the end of the year. It's been quite a year. So go ahead and share the slides, Nate.
Can you see those?
We can, thank you.
Okay, there we go. Okay, share.
So we know Commander Prouty has moved on, and he's been in the National Guard, and from what I understand, he's been back to Rutland at least once. We're looking forward to having him back with us again. We were all happy to have Mark come on and Greg come on. And then we all had to go Zoom, so here are some of the folks that were, I'm not going to comment on every slide. Nate, just go ahead and show them. I will say this about the community response team. You should know these folks are very busy and they're an important part of what's happening in Rutland. One of the things that happened was the community policing group decided to share some snacks with the police department to thank them for the work that they've been doing since they've been under stress. And so we did Thanksgiving, we did Christmas, and we've been doing monthly shift changes, taking snacks in. So we want to just really thank the PD for everything that they're doing for the officers. We had a number of walks. We've been giving out bags. The health committee was very busy this year, and you'll see in the next slide a number of things that they accomplished this year, which I think everybody should be proud of. Tracy, do you want to say anything about any of these?
No, just to echo your thanks, Elise, to everyone who's involved on the health committee, the many volunteers and community partners that have helped to make these accomplishments happen and possible over the past year. And certainly anyone who has an interest in helping with health-related issues in our community, please reach out to Jamie Bentley or myself. We would love to have you join us. Thanks, Elise.
So we welcome Ashley Bride and Kathleen Taft to the United Way of Rutland, and they landed with their feet running, and they have been running ever since. Thank you, Kathleen and Ashley, for joining us.
Thank you, Elise.
This was a nice, positive aspect that happened in the community. What a great thing to have for everybody. And you all know about the Stuffer Cruisers that have been going on. They've been very successful. I believe this year was by check, but it says no, it was collecting food and donations. So I guess they did, but they also benefited. Can you put, they also benefited the Humane Society. There was a message here that, I'm not sure where this is supposed to go, Richard. Do you want, Richard Gallo, do you want to, your chat, was that was not in relation to this, was it?
No, it's not in relation, but it's just something, but people can read it in the chat box at least. Thank you.
Okay, take a look. It's about veterans that are returning home. What's nice about the stuff a cruiser is the number of agencies that get together. You see Tom Donahue from Brock, you see Stockton Security, the police department. I'm not sure the Humane Society is there in the middle. I mean, it's just, talk about collaboration. You know, it's a perfect example of how we collaborate on things. We welcome Allison McLaughlin to the Community Justice Center and wish her good fortune moving forward with that. We know that's a real challenge this year with COVID. This was kind of exciting to see that Rutland Mental Health had gotten a large amount of money. Does anybody have anything they want to add on to that? It's to receive money to allow kids to receive treatment. Tracy, does that affect, is Tracy still on? No, or Jess?
Yeah, I'll be honest, I'm not sure much about this because I'm fairly out of the child and family loop.
Okay. This was a lot of fun. Whoops. We had a lot of attendance this year. It was really well attended. We even had a dunking booth for the chief. So congratulations to Emilio Rosario for putting this together. He was the one that got the National Guard helicopter and the bouncy house and so much of it set up. He really did a fantastic job. We just heard about that. Mariah Davis has really come out as a community activist. And Mariah, if you're still on the line, thank you so much for everything that you did to bring the people together on Baxter Street. Mariah, are you still there?
I am. Thank you.
Do you want to say anything about what's going on?
Just basically, it's been very overwhelming, the support that the community has had with wanting to get together and talk about ways to be safer in our community and to make our neighborhoods a place that we want our kids to feel safe being out and about and playing in. And it's been absolutely amazing how many people just really want to get together to try to come up with new ways to do wonderful things.
Is this still ongoing? Are you still able to get together?
Well, right now, being that COVID has kind of been where it's at, we're going to hold back until we can get until either the numbers go down or we can start doing something outside again. It just is not as wonderful as it's been. It's just not worth risking people's lives, so hopefully once it gets warmer, we'll get to trying to do some fun things again.
Well, thank you for your work.
Thank you.
One of the reactions that we had was that Stockton Security is now working with the Council on Aging, and they are sending patrols out. They have patrols 5 days a week in the area of Maple and Baxter, and where we had some difficulty earlier in the year. And they feel very strongly about the work that they're doing. They feel like they are making a difference. So I think we were all sad to see Clay go. I understand that he either has gone or is going to Florida. Lucky Clay. I'd like to be there right now myself.
I believe he's there. He said it was 70 yesterday, so I believe he is there.
We certainly wish him well.
All right.
The freezer, I think this was really huge. Is anybody from Brock want to say anything about this? Do we have anybody still on from Brock? I guess not. Go ahead.
It's really expanded our capacity to store food.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. Where are you keeping this freezer?
It's actually on the right side of the front of our building. It's built out. It's a freezer and walk-in refrigerator, so we can preserve fresh food better, the produce, and also recapture a lot more and serve a lot more folks. If you come to our building, you can see it. It's on the outside.
I think that's an amazing contribution to our city. Thank you so much for everything that you do to make sure that people get food.
Thanks for including this.
So we had a little fun with the Project Vision book. We had a grand opening, and then it was presented to Lieutenant Governor Molly Gray. The next slide. And it was also presented to the hospital. The next slide. So, you know, one of the things that Jim Baker always said is that we have to tell our story. And that's what this is about. This is about getting our story out there so people know that Rutland is doing good things. Shop with a Cop was absolutely a blast this year. And I think we've lost Greg. And do we have any? We don't have any police on, but anybody else attend this? Because I thought it was absolutely overwhelming. I walked into Walmart and the shoppers in there were all, what are all these cops doing in here? But the kids were having a lot of fun and they got a lot of good things. I think they had, I think the chief told me they had $200 to spend. And when he was working with his youngster, they got up to $199.99. So they got pretty close to their limit. And that's quite a bounty for those kids. And if you haven't noticed, our chief, I think we really, I mean, I wish he was here to see this, but I really think that we owe him a huge applause. He has done a tremendous job this year. He's quiet. He doesn't say a lot, but his presence is very big in our community. And I think we should really thank him. And Jeanette worked hard on this. I thought this is a really way to celebrate the holidays. Jeanette, thank you for this if you're still on the line. And the last slide, we are just wishing you all the best in 2022. So thank you all for coming to this meeting. Tracy, do you want to say anything more?
Just wow, Elise. Thank you to you and to Greg and to Nate for your efforts in putting this slideshow together. I think it's a nice reminder in a year that has been full of a lot of starts and stops along the way, just how much Project Vision and our many partners in the community have accomplished and the great things that everyone on this meeting continues to do for Rutland citizens. So thank you for ending our meeting this way. And we'll open it up, just any last minute questions or announcements before we let you all get back to your busy schedules. Thank you again, Elise. Anything else that you wanted to say before we end the meeting?
Not that I wanted to say. Just if you didn't get it, look at your chat. The Army and National Guard are slowly returning home. Of our 1,100 service members, approximately 300 have returned home. So that's really good news, and that was from Rich Gallo. Thanks everybody for coming and for your support. We appreciate everything that all of you are doing. Stay in touch. Keep in communication with the listserv, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Elise.